So as you can see here, here's a small sample of some of the parts that I've already pre-assembled of the Kampfer Amazing kit. Some of these parts I was reviewing, and I actually had to review an old video, of course, of my last Kampfer kit that I made, which I made for the diorama build, for those of you who don't remember. That was a great, I kind of like that build, and I kind of like that suit. This one, on the other hand, of course, is completely different because there are certain aspects of this kit that are obvious. For starters, you don't have two different types of shoulders. You have these two types right here, compared to the classic thruster shoulder here, and then a thruster with a spike on it. I'm showing off the old ones that we had that came with it. I decided to remove it. I might keep it around for some other kit bash custom I'll make sometime in the future. So you have the two the same, of course. The armor on the front part of the leg is different, of course, right there. And I think that's pretty much covers it all. Oh, a different backpack. The original one was rounded, while this one's a more squared look to it, and then some other added features to it. Now, I decided to put together some of the parts that eventually I'm going to pop out after I finish painting, so that way I can apply some of the other parts. Like for this one, I have to put the the shoulder joints in here, and of course the detail parts here, which is a different color tone. For this one, you have the yellow trim that comes inside. When I was reviewing this, I kind of figured, okay, so I can just paint the sides of this and I'll be done with it. But after looking at it and saying to myself, I'm gonna have to, once I finish painting this the color that I want, I have to pop this out just to put this one in. I think I'll probably do more damage than good. I've already sanded down this part down pretty well. I may want to do a little more sanding just to cover it up a bit. So I decided to risk it and put the yellow trim part in here, glue these two parts together so they won't pop out, and then during the painting phase, clearly I'm going to cover this up after I apply it. Well, how it's going to happen is, once I finish painting the whole thing black, then I'm going to cover this and this, so that way I can paint it the chrome, and then if I decide to leave it chrome or color it the copper, I'll just remove it, tape up the other sides, and then paint the copper inside. Clearly with this one, I have to make sure that I put the masking tape around the edges internally, so that way I can grab the whole thing. It's a bit tricky for this one. So that is for this, of course. It's going to probably be the same thing here because there's a gold trim. There's a trim part here and here. And if I look at the manual properly, well, the legs have a trim part in here, which that's already out, so I can put that in if I want to. And I think I've already mentioned there, of course. And then here in the head. Now, for those of you who remember, I gutted this in my last Kampfer, and I put the custom mono eye that I made myself. Worthy attempt. Clearly, I wasn't impressed with the work. It could have been done better. But with this one, I'm definitely going to put I'm going to paint the pink circle on it, so that way it represents the mono eye, and this has to be painted internally as well, the copper color as well. I think that pretty much it. I just finished sanding down these. I'm gonna sand them down a little bit more. I just want to make sure I cover every part that hopefully I didn't miss anything. There's something else I wanted to say, but now I just completely lost track. I've been trying to get this done as quickly as possible, and because now the next stage will be, of course, for me to prime them. So yes, I'm gonna paint them all black. The blue parts will be painted black. Don't think I'm gonna be painting black on the charcoal parts because it's its own tone, but I think I may decide to prime it the other color, the white color. See how that works. So I know there was something else I wanted to say. It'll probably come to me in a moment, but I'll save it for the next part of this build, of this paint, of this building, of the Kampfer Amazing Custom. Okay, so I am now ready to begin priming these parts. I thought it would be a good idea to show off how the airbrush sounds when I airbrush my parts. Now, as for an example, I wanted to try something where it's going to hurt me a bit. Well, actually, I want to try something big, and I think I'm going to use this guy. Now, I'm going to give it a quick blast so you can understand what you hear. And by the way, I'm going to be using gloss black base. However, listen to this. I'm just going to press the reservoir. You can barely even hear it. You can only hear the air, the sound of my spray booth, and a little bit of the compressor as it shuts itself off. However, this compressor is set to the highest settings, which is 35, maybe 36 psi's. This one says, shake thoroughly before use, which I did. Spray at 15 to 20 psi. Ensure that the clean area free of oil, grease, dust. Apply 2 light modern coats for best results. And I'll allow the paint to overdry. Overnight to dry. So I am going to adjust the compressor. It's up to 20 psi's right now. You don't even hear it, but let's try this. The one thing about lower psi is you're not wasting a lot of paint in the reservoir. That was one thing that I had a hard time doing, controlling the amount of volume off my airbrush. But the reason why it's a necessity is that when you apply this very, very lightly thin paint, it goes down nice and smooth, and you don't see none of the, well, how can I say this? When I was painting my previous kits before, it looked like it was like the paint collected too much. This is a very thin paint. Oh wow. I really like the results on this. Look at that. And to do a before and after shot. There, look at this. I like this. That came out really nice. Let's do one more, and then I'll just continue on with this. So, just want to make sure this thing is no dust or anything like that. You know what? I think I may have to prime this another base because the scarring there still hasn't gone away. Let me just apply it first, and if the scarring is way too much, I'll repaint it. No big deal. Oh, it looks like it's going away. But once it dries, I'll figure it out. Again, this primer is designed, it is a base coat, but I think it also acts as a primer. I've used this before in the past. I guess it doesn't hurt to give it a more another layer of coating. Yeah, that came out pretty good. Look how shiny it is. All right. So let me continue on, and we'll apply the chrome. Okay guys, I'm going to now move on to this, but LCAD Chrome. Now, like the L-Clad gloss base black, it says here to spray at 12 to 15 psi pressure. So, I got my compressor set to, I think 15. It even goes even further down. So we're going to do light passes. Whoops. I could adjust these alligator stands that I made, my parts holders. I don't want to do too much. I want to do one layer. I think that's enough. Check that out. Here's a side-by-side comparison. It's a little flaky in a way, so I'm going to give it about a good minute or two to let it dry out and apply a second layer. I'll do the same thing with this one right here. You still see a lot of black there, but the whole purpose of this is, of course, when you apply this first layer, you give it about a good maybe half hour, and then do another layer over it. Now, I did try a test part maybe about 10-15 minutes ago. This one's already been applied, so I'm going to give another layer over it. I may be a little, jumping the gun a bit, but there we go. I think that's the effect that I'm looking for. And let me get the other part so you guys can see this. There it is. Alright. Let me continue on and see what results we get out of this.